Goodness gracious. Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and we're here live at the Build Studio in New York City. Our next guest may very well be one of the most talented families in America. Since, like, I don't know, like the Partridges or the Wayans or something. I'm dead serious. Their new film, Stella's Last Weekend, marks a reunion of sorts, as it is the first time they've all worked together since over a decade ago on the crazy popular Nickelodeon show, The Naked Brothers Band. Yeah, you can go ahead. I'll wait. You can go ahead. That's what you should do when I say that's perfect. It's perfect. So the film, you see, I got the chance to see it. It's full of heart. It's super funny. And if you have even so much as pet a dog once in your lifetime, there's a good chance it's going to make you cry. Ladies and gentlemen, from Stella's Last Weekend, writer and director Polly Draper is here. As stars Nat Wolff and Alex Wolff are in the building. How about that? How we feel right now? How do we? And a reminder, they can hear you. So there you go. Well, I'll never hurt anybody. So you're excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a great time. We're going to bring them out here in just a second. But first, I believe we have a trailer for the flick. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
Hi, Stella. Good girl.
Are you sure you want to have a party for Stella? Don't you think maybe it should just be us?
No, I wish we had a party for your dad when he...
When we put him to sleep?
Baby, meet the gang. This is everyone I love and Ron.
Actually, me and Jack met last year at a party.
She never called me back.
What? Jack saw this girl that he was in love with on the train today. She never called him back either.
I'm sure she had her reasons.
Take your shoes off over there. The floors are like imported from the ancient Roman ruins.
Dude, champagne.
That's for the invited guests, Oliver. You can't have any.
Oh. Do you want it back?
Whoa! Now I feel better.
Hey, we're coming to Stella Celebration Sunday.
Something wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
Gonna celebrate our dog dying? Look, Jack, it's a bird's nest.
Stop it!
Quit it!
Hey!
You never see him at his worst. Tell your mother.
I just asked whether you were the type of woman that men wanted to bang or men wanted to marry.
So what did you say?
You kidding, right?
Come on!
What? I thought it was just gonna be you, me, and Stella.
Can't we be friends?
You can't go out on a school night.
Later, Mom.
Young man!
Old man!
You spoil them. The boys, they're now learning how to be men.
She makes these other girls look like flying monkeys in Wizard of Oz. I'm just really, really happy.
Something bad happened to my mom.
Don't go near that girl again, no matter how much you like her.
Where'd you go to sleep? We love you, Smella.
And M doesn't even look like a T.
It's okay. Stella can't read, Mom.
I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do.
I liked you so much.
I like you so much.
I'm always worried about girls liking you better, but she had the choice and she chose me. Could be awkward.
I keep on rolling around this town, rolling around this town, but nobody wants to see me. Nobody wants to see me.
What you guys have is so precious and beautiful.
I keep on rolling around this town, rolling around this town, but
That's the end of the story? Yep. It's the most depressing story I've ever heard in my life.
Everybody, a ridiculous amount of noise, please. Polly Draper, Nat Wolff, Alex Wolff, right here. Right here. You're there, right here. That was very nice. Thank you so much for being here, for making this movie. Congratulations. They're on. No worries. You guys do keep going, though. Yeah. Polly, can you tap yours as well? Can we get all three? Yeah, hang on.
Testing,
Okay.
testing,
Yeah.
testing.
Good. You want to, can we just? Okay, good. Yep.
Hello, A, B, C, D, E. We're cool.
Good. Okay. Good. I've got 10 more on standby just in case. Well,
Cool.
All right. Wonderful. Congratulations. But this film, I was telling you backstage, I got a chance to see it, and you are all wonderful in it, and you have much to be proud of. It's a fantastic film. For those that will see it, dear God, just tell us where Stella is right now before we go any further. Perfect.
The
She's
real
alive.
Stella is alive and probably needs to be walked.
Okay.
But she's our dog, so yeah.
That's so wonderful to find that's your actual dog.
Yeah.
I want to start actually,
In the movie, she dies. Spoiler alert.
Well, it is Stella's last weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like you put it right on the face of
Right.
it.
Spoilers in the title.
It's right there.
Spoilers right in the
This is crazy that we're doing this with this movie right now. It's so
This is
exciting.
kind of surreal.
Because it's such a family, it's such an intimate thing, and then to just put it out into the world is crazy.
Well, that's just it, right? That's one of the big things that everybody's kind of talking about. It's the first time in, I want to say, over a decade, close to a decade, since you've all had an opportunity to work
Over a
together.
decade.
Over a decade, right?
Well, I mean, Alex and I have been working together as musicians for the last 10 years, but we haven't, and I've done parts in his short films and stuff. We worked on other stuff, but we haven't worked as a family. My dad did all the music for the movie.
Yeah, Michael did the music for the movie
And
as well.
they did two. They did three of the songs. One of the songs in the trailer was theirs.
Was one of the,
So it's just a total family affair. But when we had worked together when we were kids, and then we all kind of, Alex and I branched out and found some
They
success
became
and
movie
confidence
stars.
in our own careers, individually.
They left me
And then we-
behind as movie stars,
and then
and then I
then-
pulled them back in.
that was the grand scheme all along, is generate
Yes.
two massive movie stars to star in your movies.
Yeah,
That-
and then you get the movie funded.
Well,
and then
they
next
actually,
week-
she originally wanted Logan Lerman and some other better actors, but I think they were busy doing
they
stuff.
weren't available.
They were,
We had to
couldn't get-
audition and chemistry read. And
She wanted Ryan Gosling and
I wanted any other brothers. I wanted any other
brothers.
brothers. The Cohen brothers.
Coen
or
brothers
the,
would be
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The past 20 years of your life has been the chemistry read. That's it.
basically, we've been in character since we were born. We've been studying for this role.
You've been ironing out all the kinks, finding
Oh, it's such a relief to finally break
Me.
out.
Yeah.
It was a heck of a lot
Nice to
easier.
meet you.
Yeah. It was sure a lot easier to direct them at this age where they had all these other incredible experiences behind them that they'd done that made them fabulous.
Yeah, I assume that was a trip for you, right? To have like those two experiences back to back in your mind of like the two extremes of working with them when they were so little. I'm going to keep
When
talking
you
about
had
them
to
like they're
wrangle
not
them.
here.
Yeah.
And you had to wrangle them, and now here they are, adults, established careers. Was it a very surreal moment for you to take your time to get over that and just kind of get into actually working? Did you ever lose
It
that?
didn't. It
magic?
never felt like working. I think that all of us were having so much fun. It was kind of wild on the set because, as you can see, that's them. But wild in the best possible way. Also, the director of photography didn't have to pay Alex to do takes, which they had to do when he was 6. He had to give him dollar bills just to bribe him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe, or if he
Sounds like
did,
they
he
realized he
No
could have
follow-up.
negotiated for more than
No
$1.
follow-up,
What
yeah.
that sounds like.
Yeah, I remember he also it was very cold out one day when I was 6 years old. Remember, I was 6. So when you start judging me for being a little brat, I was 6 years old, and I was a 6-year-old little brat.
6-year-old brat.
6-year-old brat. But it was very cold outside one day, like really cold November, and I was complaining and didn't want to do the scene. And he, in solidarity, took his shirt off and was like, see, we're in this together. Yeah.
So we had to have the shaky camera.
That's really, really sweet.
But
So-
we've also just been such, we've grown up and we've idolized. I've idolized my mom so much, and so has Alex, just as an actress and a writer and a director. And we were actually the ones that convinced her to play the part in the movie because she was going to
Just
get
the
another
titular role, and she's unbelievable in it.
Yeah, and we were thinking because there's nobody else who could play the role that the way that she could, and also to have the dynamic with us. But it made it so we'd taken that time apart from working together that when we came back, it was a total gift to be able to collaborate, and it was some of the most magical time we've ever spent together as a family.
I think a lot of families, that's the thing. It's like I think a lot of families would maybe get along better when they have a common goal. Because I think the problem with families sometimes is you're trying so hard to do your own individual thing, and you kind of end up veering off from each other. And I think our family having this thing that we're all working on, we're all working towards a great movie, kind of forces you to get along.
Which is kind of the point of the movie too, because it's about their dog is dying. They come home to put the dog to sleep. They have this life that they've lived with their dog that is now going to change, and it sort of changes their dynamic as brothers. And then, of course, they both fall in love with the same girl, so that kind of throws everything off.
Right, and now because you wrote and directed, so you had to write this down. Talk to me. Early stages, was it always these sort of three? There's kind of three main things that we're following. We're following Stella's journey. We're following the love triangle, and of course, just the family dynamic at home and integrating, Don and all that sort of stuff. Did you always have those 3 points that you were interweaving?
Yeah, and I never really saw them as interwoven points. I sort of saw them as part of I saw them as all the same thing, like I just saw it as when you have two boys in high school who are alone without their mother, or one that's just gone to college, alone with their mother and no father, the dynamic between them, but really the dynamic between the brothers is the thing I wanted to explore, and the competition between them that manifests itself in this instance with another girl, a girl.
Totally. And you get that sense of, because you're all phenomenal performers, but also, as you pointed out, you didn't really feel like you were working because so much of that just felt natural, and you almost felt like you were home doing it. So I imagine when you're writing it down,
is that kind of like what you're trying to get in any other film?
Exactly.
You're trying to work your way to that, and we started with that.
Especially, it's like why people work with the same director over and over again, or try. A lot of times, you'll see directors will have the exact same crew. They'll try to bring as many people as they know as possible, or they feel safe. Like you see Adam Sandler with all his friends and all his movies. People, you want to feel safe, and that's where you can do your best creative work. And the fact that we all had this mutual love and this mutual trust, it was a perfect breeding ground for that kind of.
I personally don't get along with them much, but I've heard that it was a good set. I was in my trailer most of the time.
We haven't talked since the movie.
I heard it was a fantastic set.
From the stories you've been told,
The stories I've been told,
yeah.
I seem to remember you humping the camera lens at one point.
I did hump the camera lens at one point. Came out of the trailer, humped the camera lens,
and then you went
bolted
back.
Beeline back to the trailer.
That's how you leave. You got to make your mark. You got to leave an impression.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
You don't want anyone to be able to say you weren't there. Right. And now that's not going to happen. How much? So we already know a lot of the dynamic between you two is obviously just kind of ripped from reality. Have you ever, the two of you, found yourself in all your years related in a similar situation? Not necessarily, pining over the same girl or something, but sort of competing for the attention from one source and going through that back and forth in that dynamic. There are people going, "Oh snap" and "Oh shit" in the crowd. It's hilarious to me.
Well, we always say we compete for the love of our mom.
I know.
She's the baddest woman around.
But Alex got her name tattooed on his back. So
I did.
Won her affection.
Yeah, so he's my favorite
That's it.
now.
Here we go. Here we go. Wow,
Polly.
there it is.
Yeah.
Polly.
What's on the
It's
other-
weird, but he's mine.
If you'd like to see more, I dance around here on Saturdays.
Speaking of art imitating life, this is probably the last question in this series that I'll ask, but there's a fantastic scene where, in order to alleviate some of Stella's pain and woes, you guys get high together.
It's so weird. I was
The best scene in the movie, and I'm not in it.
I was just about to talk about that before when they were saying that they wanted me to play the mother, and I was going to say it's because they wanted me to do that stone scene because
My mom called me, and I was on location shooting a movie, and I got a call, and it was, "Hello?" And I'm like, "Hi, Mom." And she's like, "Hey, Nat, I have a question." I was like, "Yeah." "When you smoke weed, do you see lots of little pictures in the shower, like little postcards in the water droplets?" And I said, "Mom, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about." And then I'm like, "I don't know what you're smoking." And then she's like, "Do you also feel like sometimes there's a reality, and then there's another one there, and then another one there, and it's just all these realities as far as you can see?" And I said, "No, Mom, I think you're on acid or something." I don't know what you smoked.
No, the reason I never smoked pot was because the last time I did was like 20 years ago, and the same sort of thing happened where I'd see all of these dancing, stuff like pink spiders crawling out of the bathtub and stuff like that. So I decided it wasn't for me. So then I
think my mom's operating as somebody sober that seems like somebody that's smoked weed all the time.
So when I actually do have
it goes balls to the wall.
reality, it's wow.
But then she put that in the scene, so she says in the scene.
Put that in the scene, so that's why I think they want. We try to get the dog stoned to make the dog feel better, and in the process get stoned ourselves, and then and
have a great little moment together.
I love that scene too because it's the way that things go in our family a lot where, and it's what I notice also with. I was saying earlier with little kids, if you see a little kid laughing really hard, you can feel how they could go to crying in any second. If you see a kid crying really hard, you can see how they could go to laughing really second. It's almost like the same. It almost like comes from that same place, and that's why I feel like movies that do tend to make you laugh make you cry easier. And in that scene, and that's what happens I feel like in our real life dynamic. Things are there's always an edge of comedy, and with a underlying depth, and I felt that was a scene that had both those things where we're talking about these things.
It perfectly mixes all of those vibes together.
Right. I don't think that life is ever one thing or another, and so I'm always kind of fascinated by movies that do just straight not one joke or not one life moment that's funny or because
or comedies that don't seem based in reality.
Don't seem based in reality. Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's what life is. So I have to.
Is that a tone that you're making sure that you're hitting those mile markers when you're writing it on the page, or is it something you find in the moment on set and you find little ways to sprinkle it in?
Yeah, because you have to find the root of it, which is the emotional core of it, and then you try to find a way to say it in a way that is the most interesting to people, or the most true, or the most how it really would happen, and not hitting it on the head. But some of the most profound encounters we have are hit at from circuitous routes. They're not like right on the nose. They're sort of, they start with, and that's why I like the putting in the character. We put in characters of these two goofy characters that they play, which they did play in real life. They just
two alter egos that we were talking about.
They're basically characters.
Do them.
There's a character I do called Nelson who talks like this, and his best friend's his mom.
Someone said, "Oh no," in the audience, and I want to know who said it.
His name's Nelson, and he talks like this, and I say, and my mom's my best friend, and I don't really have any friends, and
kind of, I realized, I thought I used to just do that as like a party trick, as when it made people laugh, and I realized when I was reading the script, I was like, oh my God, she kind of nailed it, that I do it when I want to say something that I am too shy to say as myself, because it's really vulnerable, like,
oh, that kind of hurts my feelings,
or things like that, and then you end up doing it. I think the same thing went for George Walters, who's Nat's character.
Yeah, George Walters was like a character. No, I'm not a monkey.
Yes,
Mom.
you are.
Nat is intentionally resisting it.
George Walters was a character that I created like in high school. That was almost a way to talk to my parents and talk to people and to talk to people or even to people when I felt really uncomfortable. And it was like a. But it was like this, and I'd say, "Hello, I'm George Walters, and I have Mrs. Walters back in Las Vegas." I don't know. I had a backstory.
Wow, that I didn't know.
We have backstories,
I didn't know Mrs. Walters lived there.
Dude, we're
Yeah, even at an early, forever, since day one, you guys have been finding the backstories and figuring it out and planting and playing with these characters, I see.
There we go.
Nelson doesn't have much backstory except that he has no friends. And is semi in love with his mother.
Walters too is sort of similar.
You kind of touched on this just now in the way you were describing it, but like, if you could elaborate, was it a weird experience because you wrote these parts for them, and so in that, like right there's one thing you learned about yourself through this portrayal or this version of you through your mother's lens. Did you find yourself learning additional things? Like,
I mean, I think one of the beautiful things about this experience was that we had our dad in real life did get sick in 2015 and battled with cancer and then came out the other side and made a miraculous recovery. And through that, our whole family got kind of, thrown for a loop. And then we all came back together stronger. And this movie was kind of was very cathartic in that way because it was a good avenue to put our, even though it's a comedy and it is lighthearted, there's a bit of that, I think, for all of us.
Also,
in the movie.
like the things sometimes I remember when I first read it, the things that stung and made me mad. I was like, "Oh, Mom!" I was like, "Oh, that's because it's just really real and true." I was like, I would not, or maybe I would. There's a lot of kind of embarrassing stuff. The stuff that embarrassed me, maybe made me feel overwhelmed, was the stuff that. Even when I first saw the movie, there's stuff I'm like so embarrassed by, some of the things because they're so, Well, it's like
it's an aspect, but
it's an
both
aspect
characters
of
aren't
us.
really
Yeah,
us.
it's
They're
not-
aspects of our personalities that through like 3 years or 4 years of talking about the script and reading different drafts, we kind of pushed our characters.
And when she
towards
wrote
different
it, I think
directions.
in that time, like that time period, I think it's sort of a younger. It's also like a time when we were younger. That's how it feels, and it's kind of a younger part of. You don't agree with that? For my character, I felt like it was a lot how I maybe was early in high school. I more relate some of those things that I feel like changed.
He wants
as I got a
everyone to
little
know
older.
that he's a real mover and really cool with girls now.
Yeah, I really learned my
So just-
stuff, guys.
Just in case that anyone
Really
thinks
learned my
that
stuff.
Yeah.
But I think he's like something that's really interesting about the movie that I loved also is that like I don't know if you've seen a character like my character who's such a pusher, such a so forcefully abrasive and trying, and then watching. I think my mom did a great job of watching
that facade crumble
and turn super vulnerable and see how someone like that handles it. And I feel like that's something that I definitely struggle with in life, and I feel like isn't really reflected in movies often. I feel like you're sort of scared. Usually it's like the funny best friend or da-da-da-da, and they have one heartbreaking scene where she doesn't go to prom. Then in the end, he makes some joke. He's like, well, I'm still been the suit to do, like that.
You kind
And it's
of
like a
watch
whole
him
arc
grow
of-
up through the whole
and you
thing.
watch him try
Yeah.
and push and really try hard to be something, and then you just watch, was it the sex? What was it that made her not, and I think that's really so well done and really different.
100%. And that
But Alex is awesome at sex.
But also, that's the main
He
thing.
wants everyone to know that.
It's the original tagline from the film, I believe, was Alex is awesome at sex. I think that's what you
That was
guys
the
had
original
on the poster.
tagline. We pitched it.
Two brothers,
dude,
one
just
girl, do
last
the
week-
math. That's a better tagline. That's
it's
yeah.
a little bit.
Possibly,
Yeah.
a little
You
better.
workshop
Awesome at
it.
sex.
Yeah.
I think one thing that's really that it plays to some of our real dynamics is the relationship between us and the mom. Because there's some moments that are taken straight out of real life. And things that Alex has said to my mom, and they do have probably the funniest back and forth. They're the funniest, comedy duo that I've ever
Definitely
seen.
push the boundaries of what's acceptable and not acceptable to say to each other.
I
for
just,
sure.
I would
yeah.
agree to that. Where does then the
I think
the,
for the mother's character there, because in this case it's not really me, but it's got elements of me. I think that what she feels is she doesn't sweat the small stuff. She's not like a stickler for, wait, you have to say that.
Yeah.
You can't say anything like that. You can't use bad words. You can't, and because she knows that the underlying vulnerability of her son.
Well, it's also cool that like a woman mom, like in a movie, is just this really cool. She's a great sense of humor. She's she's not like the way mostly I feel like moms are portrayed. Like, why aren't you coming home at 8? And da-da-da. Instead, she's like
not
this
how
loose,
all
which is not
moms
really
are.
how moms are. And our mom is much more loose, much more had a better sense of humor, probably to a fault. Honestly, if we're gonna be real, but.
said we were going to be real.
We said we're gonna be real. But yeah, I think that's just really cool to just have this badass, woman mom character who has a really great sense of humor. It isn't just like a shrew wife who's just like, why are you guys doing
And then
this?
she
the
gets a
dad's
journey
the cool-
too, because she's at first she's kind of dismissive of her relationship and not connecting, and she still hasn't really gotten over her late husband, and then at the end of the movie you watch her sort of grow up too in that relationship.
Yeah. Where did the voice of Don, right? The
Ron.
Ron, sorry. Where does that
Corleone.
where does that perspective come from? Is that an assumed perspective from some of the audience of like, you can't talk to your mom that way? Like,
I guess there was somewhere in there the voice of what parents are supposed to be, how they're supposed to raise their kids. So I guess I wanted him to be the person that carried that burden, but the character was so much more than that, because basically what he was trying to do was befriend.
Yeah.
He was he wanted the kids to like him. Alex's character was just so hard on him and embarrassed him and made him feel so humiliated that he lashed out and was acted like a jerk.
Just the character, I promise. I didn't encourage him.
In fact,
No one did.
in fact, Alex and Nick Sandow, who's the brilliant actor who played Ron, had the most hilarious relationship where Nick almost could never do a take without cracking up because
I would
Alex
say some
was
obscene shit to mom.
torturing him.
Yeah, as crazy it gets on camera, the off-camera lines that Alex
Oh
was
my
saying.
God, we should just go through all those. Oh my God.
we've got a minute before we go to audience
We should
Q&A.
definitely not. We should definitely not. Definitely not. Promise.
How many? We got a couple of questions out in the room. I could talk to you about this film all day, but I do not want to rob time from these awesome fans. So I see we've got a microphone. I'm going to start right here on the orange couch. You have a microphone.
Oh, yay, good show. Let me just try not to turn pink. Nat, I'm sorry if I turn pink. I can't help myself.
Don't worry.
I know. Starting off with your romantic role with Rosalina in the Naked Brothers band, and then Paper Towns, and then you getting asked out to prom. Do you guys feel more inclined? Yes, he got asked out to prom.
And in the Greek wedding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's.
Yes, I know. I watched all of them, and yes, I did love them. But do you guys, because of said roles that you guys have played in the past, do you feel more inclined towards normal roles or more romantic roles? Based on your personal lives or future.
Well, I'm a really handsome guy, so things turn romantic even when they don't mean to be. So.
How am I going to top that?
You, so it's fine.
I'm a tiny bit uncomfortable. I think, some of the, like this movie would be a romance, but it has other things going on. I think sometimes, I love some of those classic romantic movies, but I think I'm a lot of the romantic movies that I feel like have come out more recently, it seems it could be a little bit of a tired genre, so it's exciting when somebody does it in an interesting way. Like I thought 500 Days of Summer was a cool way to do a movie like that.
Even Blue Valentine.
Yeah, Blue Valentine dark, but it's like, the romantic in its own way and stuff. So movies like that would be great. But a lot of times if you read those romantic scripts, it's like, and I know this is going to happen, and then this is going to happen.
Hunky man takes off his shirt, shiny abs reflect.
This is what they offered Alex.
Those are the ones Alex gets, yeah.
I'm just like,
I don't get
guys, can I get some interesting roles, not this ab stuff?
Alex, do you remember when you were doing A Birders Guide to Everything?
I don't want to talk about that.
The director put in...
It said something like nerdy with a strange haircut, and I was like, bro, I'm not nerdy or have a strange haircut.
So in
at
the
the end,
rewrite-
he typed up sexy Adonis. It walks through the hall glowing, and so I framed it. I feel like there's a tinge of irony here I'm not down with.
That was wonderul.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for your question. We've got a few more. The next one is going to be, I think, right here. You have a microphone as well.
Hey guys, so I know that you guys are really good at movies, like at acting and writing and directing, so we know that. By the way, really excited for Cat in the Moon.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can't wait for that to come out, and can't wait to see this on Friday. It seems like you had a lot of fun collaborating on this project, so is there any other things that you all three would collaborate on? I know you guys do music, so maybe Mom on the next album?
Mom's on our
That will
album.
never- oh,
our
she's
last
actually on our
album,
last album,
we taped her when she was telling a joke that she just butchered. She butchered
Didn't
this
well.
joke.
Didn't go
and
well.
I was secretly filming her going, and then the the doctor said, wait, hold on. The doctor says to the patient, oh, no, what did I say?
Do you get it?
And then she goes, do you get it?
And they
everybody-
put it to
and her friend
music.
We put music under it and put it on our album.
She goes, yeah, I get it.
It's called Joke, right?
Joke.
Yeah.
But Nat actually produced Cat in the Moon with me and some other Peter
So
Berg
did
and
you,
other
right?
stuff, and-
No, but
Yeah.
it's pretty brilliant. I'm just a fan.
Cat in the Moon is your directorial debut, correct?
Yes.
Did you ever?
It's great.
Yeah. Did you ever, while you guys were on set, I think you might have touched on this early on, but watching your mom work now at this older age, did you observe anything at any point and go like, oh, that's where I got that from? Or, oh, I do that the same way?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, kind of like, it probably was more, I mean, she's my mom, so that it's almost everything is like, oh yeah, that makes sense, it makes sense. It actually was more interesting when things would be different, and oh, that's interesting, I never would have thought of that, or oh, that's interesting how she, like, I honestly, the commanding of the set, being the leader of the set, that was by far completely learned from her, because my mom, as a leader, rules it like, okay, we're all kind of going for the same thing, totally at ease, but you know, no one is gonna fuck with my mom. Like, and I loved that sort of what is it? Quiet, carry a big stick, or what is the quote? Quiet with a big stick, whatever it is.
Carry a big stick.
the big
quote.
stick quote.
We all
But
know.
I really learned.
Big softly,
carry
carry a
a
big stick. I feel like that. I feel like that even with acting, where my mom's such an artist, where nobody's gonna tell her to do something that doesn't feel like it's coming from her artistic heart, and that's really hard to do. And it's especially, just watching her and then seeing, and hopefully times are changing, but it seems like it's especially hard to do if you're an actress. It's easier if you're an actor, because if you're
An
difficult
actress,
as an
it makes you
actor,
a bitch, and if you're an actor, it just makes you.
You're a tortured artist.
Yeah.
We got one more. I'm getting the signal here. We're going to do one. Oh, right here in the front.
Hey,
Go right ahead.
I was just wondering, like, are there any directors or actors you would want to work with in the future? It's like any.
None.
No?
Throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Well, I think both of us agree. Paul Thomas Anderson is the greatest ever, and I think we've both gotten really lucky to get to work with a lot of really good people. So I feel like it's been a really kind of lucky time, especially when you get to work with the same person twice. I think that's been one of the most fun things ever. But obviously, Paul Thomas Anderson, and
I want to keep working with people like my mom, my brother, and people who are collaborative. I think those are the people that I thrive the best with. And I know there are great directors who make great movies who aren't collaborative, but for me, I think I do the best with people that would take a note from somebody that does lighting, or take a note.
Honestly, most actors, I don't think I know an actor that wants a dictator of a director.
I'll have any director. I really don't care. Looking for work. It doesn't matter. Director. It can be a porn. It doesn't really matter. Just throw it at me. I'll sign up. Just say romantic lead, handsome Adonis, shines his abs, and I'll do it.
That's what's required. All right, we're gonna wrap things up. I want to thank you guys for your questions. I'd be crazy not to ask this though. With everything you got going on, you got a million movies going on. Music, you guys are still working on music. You're still finding
Yeah, we
time
got two
for
songs.
music.
We have two songs we're gonna put out. We're figuring out exactly what day, but it might be on my birthday.
Alex has
We'll
never
figure it out.
had a sip of alcohol before. That's true, and he's turning 21 on November 1st, and we're gonna try to play a
goal is to
show
black out?
on that day, and he's gonna take his first drink on stage.
And they sang their two new songs at the premiere of the movie last night, and they were amazing.
To clarify, I've shot up black tar heroin, but that's it. I haven't done no alcohol. Yeah, never alcohol.
booze.
Yeah, never.
Just that you want to draw that line.
Yeah, I just want to draw the line to make sure. Alcohol's poison, guys.
Every time
Heroin
any
grows
one
from
of
the
you
ground.
come through here, it's an absolute treat. To have you all together has been a blast. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
I was going to say
Go
on
ahead.
the 13th, the 12th is when it opens, but on the 13th we're doing a talk back after the movie, so maybe
Tell all your friends to go see the movie.
Everybody, this is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have it right here. It's in select theaters October 12th.
Yep.
The 13th, you're doing a talk back after the movies.
Yeah.
What time? Here we are.
After the 7 o'clock
After the
showing.
7 o'clock showing. Talk-
Tells me you're gonna be there.
We hope so. I hope
You know a
so.
lot of
Bet.
details.
I'm on the edge of my seat. I'll tell you that much. Guys, everybody make a ridiculous amount of noise and join me in thanking Polly, Nat, and Alex for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.